Hi everyone, I'm Naomi Less, and today I thought I'd bring forward an idea from a session that I've done called Mirror, Mirror of My Soul, and it's really about connecting prayer to our own soul, to our own personal stories. I don't know if you've had this experience of just reading through the prayers, saying the prayers, being in a worship situation, and you're looking at the words and it's like you're divorced from them. You haven't found your personal meaning. So I'm going to share with you a couple of techniques that I've learned along the way from teachers that have shared with me their skills as well too. So I wanted to utilize one blessing from the Amidah, which is the standing prayer, the 18 benedictions, so to speak. And it's in the beginning prayers. The Amidah, except for on Shabbat, is full of requests. There are different ways to engage in prayer. One of those is, please help me. Please, help me find, do, seek, understand. So this one is a prayer, a blessing that's about forgiveness. And it starts by saying, Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu, mechol lanu malkeinu ki pashanu, ki mochel v'soleach ata, baruch ata, Adonai, chanun hamarbe lisloach. So you hear that sloach, slach, lisloach in there, and you might remember that from, I won't bang the mic, but you might remember that from Yom Kippur, where you beat your chest and ask for forgiveness. And really the English here, translation is interpretation, so this is only mine, but again, feel free to challenge the text here, is really about asking for forgiveness, and it's in the we. We missed the mark. We transgressed. We did something wrong. And we say this every single day. This is a practice of forgiveness. And it's saying, forgive us, you model forgiveness, speaking to God or the divine or however you understand that word, that there is forgiveness in the world, in the universe. And therefore, there is this blessing, a moment of blessing for Adonai, who is gracious and full of forgiveness. So, wow, that's a lot. So one of the things I would then, if I were working with a group of learners, I would say, if you're thinking about that word forgiveness, is that, and somebody who's full of forgiveness, that they just embody, right? They embody this quality of forgiving someone. Who would that be in your life? Can you think of a time where you either witnessed or were a participant in someone really forgiving you? And I mean, you actually saw that happen. You experienced what it is for them to reopen their heart to you, to take in your apology and to really, say, okay, yeah, you're forgiven, or whatever words they use. So I want to pause for a second and give you that opportunity to think of that story. And I'm thinking of a story myself as well too. And you do or don't have to share that if you're in a group. That can stay individual, or you can share it in a group. If you're going to do group work, I would suggest 2s or 3s to share their story of forgiveness. And then I would encourage, here's a couple of different ways that you could play with this. I would encourage the group to choose one story out of the stories that were shared. Doesn't matter which one, just one that resonates with everybody that they want to pick. And out of that story, you can do a couple of things. Number one is you can create that scene in a frozen picture, in a frozen tableau, give it a title. And a frozen picture means you're not moving. So basically you can say 1, 2, 3, freeze, and everybody gets into that pose. And then the other people around can really interpret what that piece of forgiveness is. Oftentimes, if there's a visual, it can actually cement a concept in people's minds. They will remember that. The other thing I would say that you could do after the visual interpretation, or even just on its own with your own story, is to create a gesture that represents your story of forgiveness. So for example, I'm thinking of my story, and you don't even have to know what my story is, but my gesture that's coming to me would be, And a really fun activity would be to stand in a circle. And this was taught to me from two teachers of mine, Donnie Massang and Aaron Davidman, who do a lot of work with gesture. And you could teach each other those gestures, and it can almost become a prayer itself. So if I'm doing this, and then the person next to me does this, and then I'm only using one hand, you can use your whole body, and then the person next to me does this, and you go around without using words, just in a circle, each one adding to this. You're actually building Baruch Atah Adonai Chanun Hamarbe Lisloach. So I really invite you to utilize some of these techniques for any prayer or any kind of Jewish ancient text that you want to help your learners or yourself create more personal meaning, so that the next time you enter into worship, perhaps there's something different that you have to draw from. So any questions, I'm an open book. Feel free to be in touch, and feel free to take a risk and try some of these things with your learners. Thanks a lot, everybody.